Welcome everyone back to Worlds 2021. Last time we covered days 1 through 3, now we've got the rest in our predictions video. The first 30 days have finished, we've got all the results for them to go through in this episode, as well as predicting the next 4 days of 6 games on all of them. As such, let's just load up into this video where we get to discuss the matchups. So let's discuss the 3 days of results that we've had so far. Day 1 we got 5 out of 8. We dropped Gen G LNG, where Gen G won, we predicted LNG. Mad lost to TL, and also we lost the Fnatic HLE game. That was another thing, and it's kind of sad how Fnatic are doing in its World Championships. We'll get to them in a bit, but day 2, same again, 5 out of 8. T1 losing to EDG, PSG beating HLE, and Fnatic losing to RNG. Day number 3, again, 5 out of 8. Kind of the tale of 5 out of 8s for the first 3 days. Mad losing to LNG, Gen G beating TL, and then T1 beating 100 Thieves. Not the 3 games you thought that I'd be dropping. Obviously, I did predict PSG beating Fnatic, and that was a bit of a shocker prediction. But yeah, that's the results done for day number 1, 2, and 3. Let's get into 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let's get into our first prediction for this video. FPX versus Damwon Kia is also our matchup of the week for week 2 of groups. This is where we get to see how the 2 teams have adapted to the meta after opening up the week in terms of the action in groups, where the meta shifts from what it was in play-ins to this Graves top, to this Yuumi with Ludens, damage heavy builds with the MF. It's a big change up from play-ins to groups, and this is the 2 teams that opened it up in the group stage, and we saw these unique picks come through. I think we'll see some more in this matchup, and that's what I love to see, and we'll get to see some peak League of Legends. As for predictions, there's only one winner here, and it's Damwon Kia. I've shifted over from what I originally predicted because, if you don't know, I had actually written out my predictions for these 4 days of action already, but I've had to change a few after a few things that have happened here at the World Championships so far. But my prediction is Damwon Kia. I did originally have FPX. That was before I saw Damwon at this World Championships, and they have been undeniably the best team here at the Championships. It's either them or EDG that have performed the best, but EDG had a bit of a struggle today against DFM, so that's gotta weigh in the favour of me to Damwon Kia as the best team at this tournament, and as such I kind of have to give them the win here over FPX. With day 1 focusing around Group A, we have the EU versus NA clash up second. Rogue versus C9. I love these 2 teams. I love Rogue more than C9, granted, but I'm going to be brutally honest. This is a matchup that Rogue smashed in week number 1, and that was huge. However, C9 will probably come back in this one, bouncing back, and possibly take down Rogue. And that's not something you want if you want a Western team into the semis and quarters. And as such, I have gone with a Rogue win. And you'll understand my philosophy here. because the rest of my predictions are pretty whack for Group A. Game number 3, and C9 stay out on the Rift as they face off against the LPL squad FPX. Now, I predicted earlier that FPX would have won, but then switched over to Damwon. I could have then done the same thing in the next matchup where I thought C9 could win, but I still went with Rogue. And yeah, this matchup I've not changed. I've still predicted an FPX win. It's not going to be the whack game that I've predicted for Group A, but you can see where some of the whack's going to come, because there is a couple more games. Yeah, as I say, FPX are going to win this matchup. I just have a feeling, and it's a strong feeling, that Doinby is going to be looking to just decimate C9, especially Perks. Blabber hasn't had the best of World Championships so far in groups. He's been caught out level 1, and that got C9 dismantled across the map by Damwon Kia in the last day of action. And then he's just not been able to get much done in other matches, especially against FPX last time. As such, I have to go with an FPX win here. Though, if there was a matchup that's looking likely for a Western team to win, this would be it. Okay, you're gonna get 2 predictions for the price of 1 here, as Wacky Is makes predictions for Rogue to make it out of groups. They're gonna beat Damwon Kia. They're gonna beat FPX. That's unbelievable, and it's unheard of if it does happen. But you've heard it here from me. I'm predicting Rogue over both of these. And the other big thing is, yeah, I just think that how Rogue got smashed by FPX is going to come back, and they're going to come back swinging harder. Sure, the Graves versus Jax matchup, realistically you think, oh, that is Jax favored, but then you realize how bulky and sustainable Graves is, and it became a Graves matchup favoring side of things. But then you see Nogari versus oh no, yikes. Yeah, that's the sort of thing that we see in day 3s of the group. Day 4's where we see the fight back. EU week 2 usually ends in pain for everyone else, and this is where I think the miracle will happen for the Western. As Rogue, I just think of the Western teams, have got the most promise in terms of making it out. I mean, the rest of them, I mean, second place in the group that T1's in is likely. It could go to 100 Thieves. Group C or D, whichever one has TL and Mad in, yeah, you may get one of them out. He says there's still Gen G who are looking strong in that group, and LNG who are doing quite well. But yeah, we need to look at what we've got in front of us. I've gone with Rogue for both these. I just expect some insane clapback from Inspired. And then Hansama, who's been phenomenal during this World Championships, to continue that form. Now we re-enter the real world with our next prediction to end out day number 1, Damwon versus C9. Yeah, I'm just gonna say Damwon smash C9 again. C9 mathematically would have already been eliminated by this point if they do technically lose to Rogue. But yeah, I just think Damwon are the strongest team in this group. They'll qualify as first seed into quarters, and then it's going to be a toss-up between FPX and Rogue, and if a tiebreaker does happen, obviously I'll Twitter predict it as and when I can. And yeah, Damwon beating C9's my prediction here. So day number 2, we're kicking it off with EDGDFM. This group is pretty much similar to Group A. in terms of the fact that you've got two teams you think are going to leave this group, but it's close for the other teams scrapping for that second spot. And as such, EDG versus DFM opens it up. EDG winning is my prediction, though don't get me wrong, this matchup was incredibly close until it wasn't, which is kind of any League of Legends game, let's be honest. But I thought DFM put up a really good fight last time they faced EDG. And as such, this is going to be closer, but I still think EDG will win. So, our next game is the game that ended out today's action on the day I'm recording this, obviously. And as such, it's T1 versus 100 Thieves. This is going to be quite interesting, as this is considered the battle for second. Personally, I don't think the result's going to change from what we saw today. But if we look at the 100 Thieves lineup, now they performed at this World Championships, FBI and he's been actually very quiet in terms of their strength. I've not seen much out of them. Abadage has been kind of bullied a bit across the map, and then you've had Closer being pop-off performances on picks that he likes, except Jarvan, obviously, but he's done well. He's stolen the Baron several times, keeping 100 Thieves competitive in this group, I would say. And as such, I still feel that T1's gonna win. I just like T1 a lot better at this World Championships than what I do with an NA team. Yes, T1 are the third seed and not the second because of championship points, but they're still strong. You have to rate them. They've had so many years experience at the World Championships. Faker has been key to the success of this team over the many years. And as such, I think he's going to step up and carry against 100 Thieves to get the Korean team rolling on the day in terms of action, and then possibly roll over some other teams in this group. But will that snowball that I said is going to be rolling for T1 continue here into the game against EDG? No. EDG, by far the strongest team here at this group, and I've gone with an EDG win. Nothing more needs to be said other than MSI 2015, I think, when EDG won the championship over T1. You know, as you do. And as such, that's not the reason why I've gone with them over T1, obviously. I've just got to go with the recent form and the win rate of EDG here at the World Championships. Also, Viper's popping off. That's the other thing. So now it's time for back-to-back DFM games as they take on 100 Thieves and T1. The reason I'm going to clump these two together is because I've predicted DFM losing them both. DFM versus both of these teams hasn't really looked the best, and in my opinion, I think, honestly, and it's sad to say this, they're the weakest team in this group by far. And the LJL have done phenomenal at this World Championships. The best placing they've ever got is this World Championships no matter what. And as such, they've just got a lot of pride to show here. And we may see something quirky out of them. We may not. I don't think we will see quirky, honestly, considering they know the stakes of this matchup for both of the 100 Thieves teams and T1, but they can play upset nonetheless. I know they're not technically eliminated at this stage, but by how I've predicted things, they probably will be. And as such, I just think 100 Thieves and T1, they're in a dire scrap for that second place And this is where we get a bit crazy with our predictions in a second. But yeah, this is where I just feel DFM are gonna bow out with grace. So Group B's last matchup is EDG taking on 100 Thieves. I just mentioned this is where we get a little wacky. And yeah, when I say that, I usually predict the underdogs winning. And yeah, I've predicted 100 Thieves win here. I've predicted the two teams that are undefeated at groups to lose a matchup. I just made a bad mistake there with that one. As such, I just feel here 100 Thieves could do it. And then force a tiebreaker with T1. Actually, wait, no, they wouldn't force the tiebreaker. Ooh. Yikes. Actually, would it? It might actually force a tiebreaker. I'm thinking about it here. Even no, it wouldn't. Never mind. You'd need to beat T1 twice, and then, or 100 Thieves can't get a tiebreaker with how I've set it up. Oh well. So in theory, T1 are going out in this group second, EDG in first, 100 Thieves, and then DFM is how I've rounded out Group B. Yeah, that's not gonna be unrealistic, I would say. There's a lot of realism with this setup, and as such, it's gonna be funny though if 100 Thieves beat EDG. And now we have the most coin flippy group of them all, as PSG, Hanwha Life, RNG, and Fnatic all do battle on the third day of the second round robin. And if you don't know what the motto is, Fnatic Week 2 is usually doom for everyone else involved. But will the doom be happening with a sub in? Probably not. But let's just discuss the first game, PSG versus Hanwha Life. First time these two teams met up. I do believe that Hanwha Life won. No, they didn't. I predicted them winning. And you know what? They lost to PSG. Kind of expected, considering it's a 4th seed versus a 1st seed from a region. But do you know what I am? I'm persistent. I've gone with a Hanwha Life win here over PSG. Chovy time, do work, as it's down onto PSG. Again, Maple and Chovy, a lot of history in terms of their league careers, and as such, just seeing them do battle, which I sadly haven't watched yet, is going to be fun to see how this second bout does. In fact, I will be able to watch that one. That's good. Yeah, let's move into our next matchup. So we go from that matchup into RNG Fnatic. And you know what? It's also going to be RNG versus PSG. Doubling it up yet again. I need to talk about Fnatic though. Let's just get this elephant out of the room. Fnatic at this World Championships not been performing. They're basically the TSM of the group. Oh boy, could you think of the actual... I mean, it wouldn't be comedy with the circumstances they're in, but just the irony. That's what we're going for. If they go 0-6 like TSM. But I have to say this right now. It's very sad and unfortunate that they've lost their main ADC they've played with for the entire year, who really wanted to be at this World Championship, who's needed to be here. Sadly, and this is a huge sadly, other issues came up and he's had to step away. But Bean, who has played phenomenally, in my opinion, the most consistent player on Fnatic during this World Championships, is stepping up. But the rest of the Fnatic lineup, I haven't seen the same va-va-voom as the rest of the team. Maybe it's this second week where that bounce back from EU comes through in this group, that everyone thought our second seed was gonna qualify for quarters in. But I've gone with an RNG win here. I just don't think this Fnatic squad is strong enough at this current state. They've got a few days to rest, relax, recoup, prepare, because they're going up against RNG, a team that if you want to make it out of this group, you need to beat. But I don't think they will with the prep time they've got. As for PSG RNG, same sort of story, minus the success part of this PSG squad. They've picked up wins in this group, and as such, I still think that they'll lose here, as RNG outclassing this group entirely, in my opinion. So we're back to Fnatic. This time they're going up against Hanwha Life. Yeah, do I think Fnatic will bounce back? Honestly, of the matches they've got to face, probably one of the easy ones that you'd expect them to do it in. Sadly, I've gone with a Hanwha Life win. Chovy time just is decimation time. And decimation time means GG, go next EU at Worlds 2021. If G2 we'd get our team out of groups. But no, all for real, Hanwha have done well to get this far in groups, but Fnatic have struggled quite badly, and that's going to be a big issue going up against the experience that this HLE squad has. Now you may have noticed I haven't actually continued on with the HLE in that last one, and that's because they're up against RNG next, and yeah, RNG are having a very strong group stage. Let's be honest, I've gone with another RNG win, pretty much decimating this group and leaving them in tatters as we roll into our last game in this group. So the last game in Group C is PSG Fnatic. I'm gonna just say this right now. I've given Fnatic a win. No 0-6 for EU. And that's a big old thing to point out. And this is probably the other easy game for Fnatic in this group, for them to actually get a win, stop the 0-6, and show why they belonged at this World Championships. Because, yes, I've said plenty of times during this regular season, Fnatic in best of ones have struggled. Fnatic in best of fives is where the interesting stuff comes from. And that's what we kind of need if we are to see this strong Fnatic. Obviously, we're not going to see it because of they're missing their main big playing carry. But they still can make do. And that's what we need them to do if they are to make it out in this group. But if you can't tell by how I've predicted things, I do believe with the shape as it is, PSG are sitting 2-1. They would still make it out, I think. Yes, I think if PSG stay where they are, they make it out or have a tiebreaker with HLE in terms of how I predicted things. But RNG would come out top, then it'd be HLE off PSG, and then Fnatic in dead last. That's Group C wrapped up. We move into our final day's action, where we get to see Genji, Mad, TL, and LNG. So apparently I cannot math in terms of writing all my audio clips down, but one thing I can do is predict, and that's Genji versus Mad to kick off Group D's day of action. Yeah, Genji have looked quite good at this World Championships, like they always seem to do. But the Mad Lions here, the Mad Lads, who I've gone with winning here. And sure, you can say to me, but EU has sucked at this World Championships in comparison to Korea. And you'd be right. but I still believe that the Mad Lions are making it out of this group stage into knockouts where they thrive. And Gen G here are just gonna have to deal with this Mad Lad squad, because obviously at this state, I do believe it's very close and even between all these teams. And as such, Mad winning here would put them in a stronger position, because I do believe they beat Gen G the first time they faced off. They did. And as such, I think that they'll continue that success on in this matchup. TL LNG though follows that matchup up, and the Western side aren't getting a double down in wins, as I've got an LNG yet again beating Team Liquid. If you can't tell, I've gone with, for the first two games here, a repeat result of what we saw before. Kind of obvious that I would go with that. As such, you kind of have to realize maybe I'm being very picky. In fact, I'm just going to ruin this group right now. I'm going to go through it quick. Gen G versus LNG. I've gone with the same result. Mad versus TL. I've not gone with the same result. We'll get to that in a second. So Mad TL I've predicted differently. I'm going to say why right now. I've kept it with a Mad win. I just think it's going to be fun. Mad got decimated against TL. They both fought well. It was very scrappy the first game they faced. We broke it down, obviously. And as such, I expect the scrappiness to continue. But Mad Lions scrap is just going to demolish this TL squad. I think this is the day where TL kind of just flops. They usually have one of those at a World Championships, and I think this is it. As such, I think TL are going to lose here, and then lose again to Gen G. Yeah, that's how this group's going to go, and with how everything's been predicted, Gen G would be top of the group with Mad Lions on the day. That's how everything's going with my predictions, because I'm going to ruin this next game as well. Mad versus LNG, I predicted a Mad win. Yeah, this entire group stage I predicted in a very sort of repeat result way. But this group here, I think there's going to be tiebreakers at least in it. It's the most likely to have it, because these last two groups are very flip-floppy, and yeah, you can see that with how they've been playing. It's very close, high-octane, scrappy League of Legends that's been a joy to watch, I would say, from this group. Obviously providing the most entertainment here at the World Championships. None